Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, every new person who comes basically has the same issue. And the reason for that is because they have been, let us say, going with a plan that they were given from about the age of 3 up to about the age of 13. And you have been implementing that plan that you were given without questioning it, without investigating it. And that basically what the Buddha Dhamma really is all about is to stop following the plan that we have been given and start looking at it and taking it apart, diagnosing it, cutting it up, finding its constituent components so that when those constituent components come up as a thought, you can see them. And when you can see them, then you have an opportunity to change them. Now, to always start off, the Buddha taught only one thing. In several different suttas, he says this that I only teach both formally and now. I've only taught and continue to teach only one thing, and that is dukkha dukkha nirodha. And what that means is to be able to see the dukkha, to be able to see your dissatisfactions, and then to change them. Because we can see them, we can change them immediately. So before the call started, you talked about a panic attack. Let's talk about the panic attack in the sense of a full blown avalanche.
Yes.
It can be a rock avalanche or a snow avalanche, and often they're a combination of the two. All right. And before that, there was a snow slide,
Mm-hmm.
and it grew and it grew and it grew into an avalanche. Sometimes that avalanche from a snow slide to an avalanche only takes a few seconds, but it
Yeah.
grew. Now, the next point is that often a little snow slide will start from a footstep.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody makes a small step, and that causes a snow slide, which grows and grows and grows. Another way of looking at it is you can take a snowball and roll it down a hill, and pretty soon you've got a big snowball, and that snowball turns into a snow slide, and then that slide turns into an avalanche. Okay? It's hard to deal with an avalanche. Once the avalanche is there, once you're in a full blown panic, it's hard to do something about it immediately. But guess what? It's actually much easier to watch each step.
Mm-hmm.
That a way of thinking about it is that every thought you have gives rise to speech and verbal thoughts, which then gives rise to actions. And when we do something over and over again, that leads to a habit.
Yeah.
And the habit eventually leads to your destiny. Now, your destiny, like an avalanche, you can't do much about it, but you can start to change your thoughts. The next point about that is that our thoughts are always clouded by our attitude. A very quick example of that is that you've had a prize fight, 15 rounds or so, maybe a knockout. And after the fight is over, the two fighters will be in a room, each one of them getting a massage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, the winner is going to have different thoughts than the loser. Both might be having thoughts about quitting boxing.
Mm-hmm.
but they're going to have a different attitude and therefore different thoughts about quitting. Oh, I've got the title belt. I'm on top of the world. Maybe it's time to retire. And the other one is having thoughts, oh, I just got the shit beat out of me. This is too much. Maybe I should quit. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we can see then that our attitude gives rise to our thoughts, that means that if we begin to change our thoughts intentionally, that it will also affect our attitude. And our attitude then will actually begin to affect the way that we feel. So if you can see the little thought, like, I don't like this, then you can change that thought into, well, maybe it's not so bad. I can handle that. Because if you keep having those thoughts of, I don't like this, I really don't like it, I hate this, and then you're going right into avalanche mode.
Yeah, I know it all. And I've been in avalanche for a long time.
All right. So the way to handle this then is beginning to look at the thoughts that we have and making a change. That the Four Noble Truths that the Buddha taught start with that there is dukkha. Now, many people think that dukkha comes from the outside. It comes from a tsunami. It comes from an actual avalanche. It comes from God did it.
Mm-hmm.
You did it to me. We play the blame game. But the reality is that our dissatisfaction has a source from within. And the second noble truth is that it's our own wants, our own desires, our own dislikes and likes that are ignorantly building up is what causes dissatisfaction. That really, you could think of it this way, is that the Buddha's path is the original self-help path.
For me,
Except that we have to do something. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm really infected by the Abrahamic religions. I am from I have Islamic background. I've given it up, but I've still the conditioning of Islam in me, and that, because of that, when I'm very fearful. Or if I have like a panic attack, I have always the feeling for what if this is Satan doing this? You know, so because it felt so fearful, so panicky that I felt like there must be something bad doing this to me. I cannot believe that it is me, my mind, doing this.
Well, weren't you taught that Allah is merciful?
Well, that's what they say, but
you don't believe it.
No, I don't. I have given it up. As I said, when I was 16, I could see it.
No, I'm thinking about it in a more deep level rather than a surface Islamic level. Okay, that they teach that that Allah is merciful, or that another way of saying it is that everything is okay, and yet you think that your environment is dangerous.
Yep.
And so you're afraid, you're fearful. That in fact, even though the mullahs talk about Allah is merciful, they don't believe that.
Yeah.
Islam does not believe its own teachings.
Yeah, but I believe also he himself doesn't believe it while saying it, because in other parts in the Quran he said, I'm waiting for you to die to punish you. Then he's just waiting to punish me because now I don't believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
So what is merciful about that?
Well, the way that we're going to handle that is by seeing those fearful thoughts as they come up. Oh no, this could happen. Oh no, that could go wrong. And the reality is that it didn't.
Yep.
That 99% of all the problems that you've ever thought about didn't happen.
Yep. Yep.
There's an awful lot of people in the United States, for instance, right now that are really, really worried about Donald Trump. Okay. And yet 99% of the stuff that they're afraid of probably won't happen. And he himself was very, very afraid of Islam. At one time, he was saying that all Muslims have to get out of America. Why? Because he was afraid. And yet 99% of the stuff that he was afraid about didn't happen.
Yeah.
So 99% of all of the fear that you have is not real. It's something that you made up. Oh, this might happen. What about this? What about that?
I know, but still, when the emotions come, it is really like I will die, and I know I have had like hundreds of panic moments, and
Well,
nothing
let's
bad has
not
happened.
go
But I
to
know,
that avalanche. That's the point that I'm making is that if you
yeah,
catch stuff early,
yeah,
you're not going to have that avalanche. That in fact, that doom that you feel, that's your
yeah,
destiny. Because you've had that feeling of doom, you've had that feeling of panic, you've had that feeling of fear, and it's become a habit.
yeah,
Okay. So let's start unraveling that. Let's unravel that a little bit at a time. Let's cut right down into it to recognize that it's just a ball of twine, that it's got no core, it's got no reality in there anywhere. It's just thoughts. So this is the practice that we have to start, is to recognize that the thoughts that you have, the fearful thoughts of what could go wrong, you can say, aha, I see that thought. And all I'm going to do is make myself fearful and miserable if I keep having that thought. Let's have a thought instead that's not going to happen, and I'm okay. Right now, I'm okay. Okay. The example of it is that we could talk about something right now. We could talk about, for instance, Israel and Iran, and you would wind up in a panic attack.
mm-hmm.
But the reality is in the room that you're in right now, there is no Israel, there is no Iran. You're safe
Yeah,
right now. The reality
yeah,
is that you're safe. It's the delusions that you have of danger that make you afraid. And as you were raised, everybody around you was filled with their minds full of danger. And they passed that on to you, and now you feel fearful and in a dangerous situation. And you do that even though the reality is that you're safe.
yeah. That's weird how the mind then works. Yeah, because I'm intelligent enough to know that it is safe. I mean, nothing bad can happen, but still, my emotions and my mind
All right.
feel
But
like I will
when that
die.
emotion and that mind starts up, then you need to
Yeah,
start having thoughts of, I am safe. Right now, I am safe. Wow, what a relief it is. Right now, I'm safe. That this is, in fact, what we need to start practicing a lot, is to having the thought of, which will lead to the attitude of, which will lead to the feeling of being safe. Now, you'll never get to the point of being comfortable so long as you feel unsafe.
yeah,
So we have to work on that issue of becoming safe. You have to feel safe. You have to think safe. You have to have the attitude of safe, because the reality is that you are safe right now. There are no
yeah.
snakes on the floor. There are no mullahs busting in. The jihad is not at your door. There's no ghost under the bed. The reality is that you're safe. And so
Yeah,
now we have to start having thoughts about the reality is that you're safe and everything is okay. You're safe. You're secure. Not a problem in the world right now, except the problems that you think up. And if you think up problems, then you'll start to feel unsafe again. You'll start having the attitude that I'm unsafe. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one point to make is that people who feel unsafe because they feel like, and they have the attitude that they are a victim of something big that they
Yeah.
can't control is out there and it's going to get you,
Yeah. That's
right?
exactly what I feel. Yeah.
And the reality is that there's nothing out there that cares about you. All the people out there, every one of them is selfish and they care about themselves and they don't care about you unless they feel in danger from you.
Yeah, the thing is, for me, is I'm not afraid of people per se. I'm not afraid of fights. I've even been in the wartime, but for me, it's like very irrational things. Being a space which is closed, in a closed environments, I get, yeah. So being a plane or in a boat or in a elevator, things like that. The moment I feel like I cannot run or I cannot escape that place, then
You
I
feel
cannot control.
you feel
You feel
trapped,
trapped. Yes,
and you
that's
have
the
thoughts
core.
of
Yeah,
being trapped.
yeah.
And you could have the thought of, wow, this boat is safe. If you're on an airplane, you can have the thought of airplane traffic is the safest kind of transportation in the world. Wow, what a relief it is. At least I'm on an airplane. I'm not in a prison. I'm on an airplane. That in fact, the airplane is as big as the room that you're in. And right now, in the room that you're in, you don't feel closed in. You don't feel claustrophobic.
But
But in a
because
boat,
I can go out if I want. That's the
yes,
difference. That's the difference.
right. But here's the point is that you have the thought that you can get out. But on the airplane, you don't have that thought. You have a thought of, oh no, I'm trapped. Why
Yeah.
don't you have the thought of, oh, I can come out of this fear, because the fear that you have is not dependent upon the airplane. It's dependent upon the thoughts that you're having.
Mm.
That the escape is to change your thoughts.
Yeah, not change the plane.
Yeah,
Because I
you
was
don't have
serious.
to change your location. What you
Yeah.
need to do is to change your thoughts. So let's use an extreme example. You're a CIA agent and you've been captured by the Taliban in Afghanistan, and there you're sitting on a chair in a room where they're holding you hostage.
Mm-hmm.
Now the CIA is trained to, oh, it doesn't matter what they do, I can keep my mouth shut. It doesn't matter what they do, I'm okay. All right, but ordinary people, they're not trained that way, and so when the Taliban have them, they panic.
Yep.
All right, so you need to train yourself like the CIA, that you can handle that airplane, you can handle that closed space, that the closed space itself is not going to attack you, it's you attacking you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very nice. Very beautiful. Yeah.
And so you can change that thought of, oh, it's dangerous here, into airplane travel is safe.
Yeah. But also that, I have read about it. I know the safety of the plane, but still my mind could not accept it. It's like,
Yes,
yeah.
it can, if you take the right noble effort to change it.
Mm.
So, one of the things that we need to work on right now with you is to recognize that you feel out of control because you have the basic attitude of being a victim. And that if you practice correctly, you can change your attitude from being a victim into being a winner, which means basically that you have thoughts of, I can handle this.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of thoughts that you need to start practicing. This is why we call it practice, is because you have to practice having new kinds of thoughts. and practice over and over again. So the thought that you need to start practicing is everything is okay. It's not dangerous here. Now, in seclusion, when you're away from people, when you're in the room that you're in, it's easy enough to talk yourself into being safe because you already believe there that you're safe. But you can start practicing there, and then when you get on the airplane, you can start practicing again. This airplane is safe enough.
Yeah.
The only time to really worry about the airplane is when the pilot comes on the microphone and says, "We're having engine trouble."
Yeah.
All right. Until he says that, there's no reason to worry, and yet you've already gotten yourself in the habit of worrying just by the thought of an airplane, just thinking about an airplane.
Yeah. And the fear is not that the plane will fall. So I'm not so afraid of the plane falling. I'm more afraid of being stuck in it, because the doors are closed. So that's actually more the thing. It's more like.
But another way of thinking about it, like for instance, the room that you're in, the doors are closed.
Yeah.
Which means you're safe. You wouldn't want the doors of the airplane open now, would you? That would make the airplane really dangerous, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I've even had those kind of thoughts to make to open the doors, but I know it's impossible to open it where the plane is very high.
No, it is quite possible. They've had that happen. In fact, half the movies about airplanes are about the door that opened or the hole that got blown on the side.
Because of the pressure, because of the outside pressure, it was difficult to
No,
open.
the outside pressure at high altitude, the outside pressure is very, very low. That they actually have to pressurize the airplane. There was a very, very famous movie called Goldfinger. It was one of the first movies made about 007.
Mm-hmm.
And in there, he was in a kind of a fight with someone in an airplane, Goldfinger, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And when they shot out the window, Goldfinger was sucked out of the plane. Why? Because the air pressure in the plane was high and the air pressure outside the plane was low. And so he got sucked out. Right? So, in that regard, since nobody's got a gun out, nobody's going to shoot a hole in the window. And therefore, in fact, they make really, really sure that there's not going to be any guns on that plane.
Yeah.
And so airport security should be allowing you to feel secure, that nobody's going to put a hole in the plane. Nobody's going to open a door. Those doors are really, really tight and secure because the airline doesn't want to get sued because the door opened and things were sucked out.
Yep.
So the reality is that air travel now is quite safe. But the fear and the thoughts that you have are of it still dangerous, and therefore you have feelings of panic and fear or anxiety. But you did it. You made that shit up.
Yeah, and that is something that for me is hard to. Again, I understand it, but it's hard for me to believe that I will do myself so much suffering.
All right. This is why if you see that suffering, if you see that you're turning yourself into a bundle of fear, that means that now you have a chance to make a change. Before you had the thought that it was the airplane that made you feel unsafe. But when you come to understand that it's your own thoughts that make you unsafe, now you can see that I can make a change. That's what the second noble truth is all about, is to recognize that you made that stuff up. It's not real.
Also, this since I've how to say, I saw the first time I saw a video of you, I think was around 1 month ago, maybe max 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And since then, I've also practiced a little bit, and I could go inside the elevator, something which I hadn't done for at least 2 years or something like that. So I'm practicing. I've been in, even yesterday. I think yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I went to Phuket town where they have the elevators. So I went in the elevator, and something simple like that. I was not doing it for a long time, because in the elevator, even though it's a few seconds that you are in it.
You were telling yourself that it's dangerous, where in fact elevators are quite safe. I would go so far as to say that elevators are actually even safer than airplanes. That they've got all kinds of mechanisms in there. Do you know what a ratchet is?
No.
A ratchet is when you've got teeth-like stuff, and that you can go to this one, and then you have to put effort in, and you go to that one. But once you're there, okay, elevators have these ratchets in it, so that if you go up like this and it goes up, it's going to come back down to that ratchet. It's going to stop. And then as the elevator goes down, they remove the ratchet, and so it can go down one level at a time. All right. And so when an elevator falls, it can't fall very far because those ratchets are going to be there.
Yeah, but same like with plane, it is not so that I think it will fall. It is just the act of being in that closed environment. Just the doors are closed. That's my main thing. Not that the thing will fall.
Well, in that regard, then that means that you're safe. That the mafia is not going to open that elevator door when when the elevator door is closed. The ISIS, the ISIL, the Taliban, they can't open that door.
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel if it is open, I'm more safe because I can run. There is something in me to want to run. That's
right. Well, let's use that quality then. So long as your mind is closed, it's dangerous. And when you open your mind, you can change, you can escape those unwholesome thoughts.
Yeah, nice.
So it's not the elevator door, it's not the airplane door, it's the fact that you close your mind.
Yeah.
And so what we mean by a closed mind is that it cannot change. You can't escape those thoughts. But the real practice of the Buddha is to see those thoughts and recognize that you can escape. You can escape. You can change those thoughts. You can get away from them.
So not escape the environment, but escape the mind.
Escape the thoughts.
Yeah.
That's
different
what we have to practice.
Because till now I was trying to escape the environment. And my thing that gave me the most rest when I just take my motorbike and I go drive. I literally like run, and then drive till I calm down, and then I come back.
The funny thing about it is that when you're out there on that motorbike racing,
you're more dangerous. Yeah,
it's more dangerous.
Yeah. I know, but I know. Yeah, especially in Thailand. Yeah.
Yes, especially in Phuket.
Yeah.
Why? Because the roads are sandy. It's an island. And most people are not used to the fact that there's grit and sand on the highway. And so they're slippery. And so riding a motorbike in Thailand is kind of dangerous. And the Thai people have a solution to that. They don't ride so fast. They go slow.
I've learned to drive slowly. So until now, nothing bad has happened.
Okay, and the reason that you can drive slow is because you're not escaping from anything. Wherever you are, driving slow, you're okay. No place to go and nothing to do. And so this is why I think the Japanese poetry is so valuable for Westerners. Haiku, like no place to go and nothing to do, and the spring comes and the grass grows all by itself. So if you have thoughts of just sitting here no place to go, then you're going to feel safe.
Yeah, but
But
when
if
I
you
do
have
that,
thoughts of I'm trapped here,
yeah,
then you're going to feel unsafe.
yeah,
And so we have to change those thoughts. This is the real understanding that the feelings of trapped are because we have thoughts of being trapped. And we have those thoughts of being trapped because we have the attitude that we're trapped, that things are
can you
dangerous.
can you please explain a little bit the difference between thoughts and attitude? The attitude, that one, I think with my English, I don't really. I have a feeling that I exactly know what you mean,
All right.
but the
In the
attitude,
Pali
the difference
Sutras,
between,
they talk
yeah.
about it as a state of mind as opposed to thoughts. The state of mind that you're in. And normally the states of mind go back and forth between the state of feeling victimized, which is a dangerous state, and the other one is the feeling or the thought or the attitude of, I've got this. I'm the boss here. I can make this place safe. The
So
winner's attitude. So you have a loser's attitude and a winner's attitude.
that's like the overall thought space, that
The overall state of mind.
overall state of mind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The state of mind is I'm either in a state of danger or I'm in a state of I've got to do something, work to do, problems to solve, people to take care of, jobs to do. That's the victim. But you have the attitude of I've already done everything that needs to be done.
But I
I
haven't,
can take the rest of the day off.
but most of times I don't feel, I always feel like I'm now in Thailand for a few years. Some people come to Thailand in few weeks and then they are restful and they go home, holiday. I'm here for a few years. I'm still not relaxed. I'm still.
Well, that's because you haven't changed your mind yet. That in fact, in Thailand, you're much safer than when you were, let us say, in the Middle East. In the Middle East, it's dangerous in reality. And the reason that it's dangerous in reality is because the danger is in the minds of all of those people. Everybody feels uptight and afraid, and so they create the danger. Then everybody feels the danger. But here in Thailand, the Thai people, they don't feel like there's any danger. So you brought the danger with you. The Thai people are not dangerous.
Yep.
In general, they're not dangerous.
Yep.
And so you can start yourself to have thoughts of, it's not dangerous here. That's the big change, you see. You have to start changing your attitude from it's dangerous into the attitude of it's safe.
Yep.
You have to change the attitude of, oh, they will get me or it will get me, into the attitude of, if it comes, I can handle it. I can take care of it. I'm the winner here. All right. Now, by doing that over and over again as a thought, you begin to change your attitude. And eventually you get to the point of, it doesn't matter what kind of thoughts of danger or anything that comes into the mind, you can throw that stuff out and say, the reality is that the airplane is safe. The reality is that the elevator is safe. The reality is that the Thai people are safe.
Yep.
And those are the kinds of thoughts that lead into the attitude. The attitude is, you're okay. And with that, you begin to feel safe and secure and comfortable. And so this is what we have to do, is we have to start looking at feeling comfortable rather than on guard.
I think I'm always on guard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
always with
And it's time to relax. Nothing is dangerous. You can relax and become comfortable. And if you do that over and over again, then you develop the attitude then of being satisfied that what you've got right now is good enough. Everything is fine. You feel satisfied, relieved. And that's because you've changed your attitude, and you've changed your attitude because you've changed your thoughts one at a time. So when you see an elevator, before you get on that elevator, you can say, ha ha, I can handle this. Before the elevator door opens, I can handle this. And then you walk into the elevator and you have the thought, hey, this is a fun ride. I can handle this. And then the door closes. And then you can say, wow, what a relief it is. Now I'm really safe.
yeah.
Okay, these are the thoughts, but we have to keep changing them over and over and over again, one thought at a time.
Yeah.
Going back to the analogy of the avalanche,
Yep.
you have to watch one step at a time, one little thought at a time, because if you have the thought of, oh, this is a snow slide, then you're going to go down that hill of an avalanche.
So be more awake and more conscious of.
This is what is called sati, or mindfulness, to be aware of the kind of thoughts that you have that make you feel unsafe, and substitute those and change those thoughts into the reality of the situation, and everything's okay.
As I said before, I have done some retreats, I have done some things, but nowhere in any meditation that I've learned, nobody said change your thoughts. It was always be aware of your thoughts. I could just be aware of my breathing, but I have never. I've done a lot of retreats, but I have never changed. Yeah.
That's because the people leading the retreats were not taught correctly. But the Buddha's model is a change model.
Yeah, that's new. That's really new. That's not new since I.
Well, you probably heard of the Eightfold Noble Path.
Yeah.
Do you also know that right noble effort is part of that Eightfold Noble Path? And what is the effort is to make a change. And so it's really, everybody that I've talked to can see that all of those mindfulness meditations, all of those Vipassana meditations had it missing something.
Yep.
And what were they missing? Right noble effort to make a change.
Yeah, I was not changing, and I was also afraid to feel good, because then they say if you feel good, it means now you are attached to that feeling good, so you should basically not feel. The way I understood it is, okay, don't feel good, but because if you feel good, if you focus on that feeling good, you will get attached to it or something like that. And
yeah, well, what's wrong with feeling good now and feeling good again and then feeling good again? Then in fact, the Buddha would say that would be a wise attachment. Is attached to feeling good right now, as opposed to the attachment of feeling bad, feeling fearful. That's the attachment that you have now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's in one way, to be honest, I also feel a little bit angry to what I have done. Because if you had told me this like 15 years ago or 10 years ago, my life would have been very much different. And but still, better late than never.
I need chew a lie. Huh? Bang by, yeah. Unique. Yeah. Huh? Ibat? Down in my minern.
You have learned some Thai?
Well, I've been here for many years.
Nice.
So anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That the Buddha's model is a change model, because otherwise your old actions will just get stuck as habits, and you repeat those over and over again. So the choice is yours. Your old actions, your old karma, your old feelings, or change it to something new.
Also, that I did. For sometimes I was also learning about Advaita Vedanta, and in that I was brainwashed. I brainwashed myself that if I do those kind of exercises to work on myself, I will be strengthening my ego, because then I'm working on something which is in reality not true. So, and the more I work on myself, it means I'm now basically
All right. Well, what do you think the word, when you say working on yourself, what does that mean?
making myself better, making myself feel better,
All right, making a change.
making a change. Yeah. So I was,
Yeah.
I was not.
Except why work at it? Why not play at it? Why not have fun doing it?
Yeah, see, I have a lot of garbage, a lot of spiritual garbage in my mind.
There is a lot of
yeah,
spiritual garbage, because
yeah,
there's a lot of spiritual garbage out there. That
yeah.
in fact, you could go so far as to say that Western Buddhism is a bunch of spiritual garbage.
Can I say something about one thing, whether there's garbage or not garbage? Is there something like consciousness beyond waking, dreaming, and deep dreamless sleep?
How
Is there
about
any?
it like this? How about the consciousness of this elevator door is closed and I'm trapped, versus the consciousness of I'm in the elevator and I'm safe?
Yeah,
All right.
making that change. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the first change. Don't worry
yeah,
about great big consciousness and all of that kind of stuff. Again, that's just more spiritual garbage.
yeah.
Let's change the little things rather than trying to change the big things.
Yeah.
Back to the avalanche. Once the avalanche is going on, there's not a lot you can do with it. But if you were at trailsman, maybe on skis at the top, if you make sure that you're putting your skis in the right place because you can see the weaknesses, then you make sure that you change your foot so that you don't start that avalanche.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very nice practice to
Yeah,
practice and be
one
aware of.
step at
Yeah,
a time.
yeah.
Exactly. Let's make sure that we can change the little things, because if you change the little things over and over and over and over again, it begins to have effect upon the bigger change.
I also have one question about how to practice. I've seen already some of your videos, the last days. For some students, you recommend them to do 5 minutes every hour or 10 minutes every 2 hours or something like that. And some other times I've heard you say just practice the whole day or whenever things come up.
Whenever,
And
okay, that's right. Remember is what it's all about.
yeah, but for me,
And yet,
especially with
people who have a practice of sitting for an hour, their mind gets dull, they get sleepy, they get tired, they get unhappy, they want the bell to ring, their body hurts. And so, sitting for a long period of time is right useless for beginners. But
especially with
if
fear.
you're a
So,
really, really seasoned practicer, then you can just sit there because you've already got it. There's no place to go and nothing to do. Why bother go anywhere? I'm already okay.
and especially things with fear. If I don't go to the with fear, I avoid fear. I avoid the fearful places, so then I don't feel fear. Let's say, for example, now I don't feel fear because I'm not in an elevator. You know, so as long as I avoid the elevator, I will not feel that fear. So is it then for the practice better to go to go to
So the
those
practice
places?
would be is to sit down and look at the thoughts. And when you see an unwholesome thought, then you can change it. That we're intentionally practicing changing. We're developing 3 skills: the skill to remember, the skill to look to see that the thought that we're having right now is being unmindful, possibly leading us into an avalanche. Okay, so we investigate. Is this dukkha? Is this an unwholesome thought? Or is this a wholesome thought? And when we see that it's an unwholesome thought, we develop the skill to change it. Now, this is the repetitive model, an instantaneous model in the sense that you can feel good right now. And you practice feeling good right now over and over and over again. To where the Western model of Buddhism is that you make progress.
Yep.
All right. Well, guess what? The light is either on or off. And we need to practice, keep turning it back on and turning it back on and turning it back on.
How is it? Is it in a way same like acting? Because I think great actors, you know, they can make themselves cry or they can make themselves look happy or feel happy. Is it also some kind of acting practice?
Well, in a way that's artificial, because when they're not acting, they come back to a homeostasis of who they had grown up to be. What we're actually doing here is not acting, but rather we're actually changing that personality. The actual personality is being changed.
Yep.
The personality is one personality walks into the elevator and feels trapped, and the other one walks into the elevator, feels happy. To where the actor, 2 different actors, or maybe the actor has the same 2 different parts, he walks into the elevator and he looks trapped and he acts trapped. Versus in the other case, the actor walks into the elevator and he acts and looks happy. And it's not real, it's artificial. But here we're actually changing that when you walk into the elevator, you no longer feel trapped. When you walk into the elevator, you can say, everything is fine. The reality is that everything is fine.
It's now just building the habit, the new habits, the new.
You build up new habits, practicing over and over and over again. And so it doesn't matter whether you practice for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. The question is during that time, are you actually practicing correctly? Because sitting for an hour, guaranteed that most of the time people are not practicing correctly. They're waiting for the bell to ring. They don't like it.
So if I've practiced right, let's say after this call, I sit just in my chair and I close my eyes or open my eyes, and any thought that come up, which is not nice, let's say fearful or stressful, I just change it to something positive. That's basically the whole practice.
That's the whole practice in the beginning.
Yeah.
And watch that you start to build skills. So they begin to feel satisfied. And then that satisfaction grows and grows and grows into a wow, this is really, really satisfying.
Yeah, nice.
So the satisfaction grows as a skill. Mindfulness, sati, grows as a skill to remember. Being able to investigate this state of mind, to investigate the thoughts, that's a skill. To be able to identify dukkha.
Also, something with motivation, because I'm really motivated to be free, to become free of those fears and stresses.
Then do it immediately.
Yeah, but the thing is, sometimes I'm just walking. Last month, I've practiced. I've done some practice, but sometimes I feel just like I don't have any motivation to do anything, and I'm in a bad state. And I know I'm in a bad state. I know I can be in a better state than right now.
Well, can
But there
you
is some.
be in that state of, oh, there's no place to go and nothing to do, and you feel safe and secure and satisfied? Or are you going to have the thoughts, oh, there's no place to go and nothing to do, and damn, I feel trapped? You don't need motivation. What you need is to change.
Change.
And the change comes when being able to see the dissatisfaction, to see the danger, to see the real danger is feeling trapped, not being trapped, because you never were trapped. Very, very rarely are people actually trapped in an elevator. And when they do, half the city and all the fire departments and everything are there to get them out. They're not going to be trapped forever.
In the times when the fear was too much, even when I did meditation in the retreats, even closing my eyes, just closing my eyes was fearful, because even then I felt like I'm now closing that blackness, in that blank. So I was just,
well, why
I was
don't
like
you
this.
see that open emptiness, that there's nothing anywhere, that all I have is expansive? It's an attitude change. And so you have the thoughts, oh, when I close my eyes, I don't have to have any problems or any worries, everything. I just shut all of that stuff out.
Yeah, this actually, it is really a relief to know that it is me doing the whole show.
Yeah,
Instead
that's the
of thinking,
important point, is
for
to
a long time,
recognize that you're doing this stuff.
for a long time, I really thought I'm sick, or there is something, I'm sick, but I think I'm normal functioning. I think I'm.
Well, even when people are sick, it's because they made that up too.
Mm. Mm.
The doctors have known about it for centuries now. It's called psychosomatic.
Mm.
Psychosomatic. The word somatic actually means body, mind. Or another way of saying it, mind over matter. And if you don't mind, it don't matter.
Nice.
So stop minding. Okay, the elevator doors are closed and you don't mind, so it doesn't matter.
Yep.
But when the elevator door closes, you do mind. You feel trapped.
Yeah.
But you do that. That's an old habit. And so when you feel that, you can say, I'm safe. In fact, one of the things then that you can practice, I don't know about Phuket, they don't have very many elevators. There's probably, what,
there
3
are
or
few.
4?
There are few that I can,
So go practice. Go to the elevators and ride up and down in the elevators for a while, recognizing that almost every floor the elevator door will open.
Yeah.
Learn to ride elevators happily.
I have also said that the last few days after doing some practice, I have been able to go inside, but still when I was inside, I still was feeling not comfortable. But now I'm going to sit and to do a lot of practice till I feel really
practice going into the
relaxed
elevator and say, I'm
comfortable.
okay here. I'm all right. Not a problem in the world. You can get over that feeling by talking yourself out of it. You talked yourself into it in the beginning. You have, in fact, one of the things that I tell to the students, you talked yourself into feeling bad, and you've been talking yourself into feeling bad for 20, 30 years. Now it's time to start talking yourself into feeling good.
Yeah, that's very beautiful.
All right, well, let's go ahead and finish this call.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You go practice. You go practice feeling good.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will.